Adrian Newey broke the 2026 regulations before the first race even started. The new Aston Martin AMR26 did more than turn heads in Barcelona. It terrified George Russell and Mercedes. We are broadcasting from the Barcelona Shakedown, an event confirmed by Racing News 365, where the Formula One paddock is in chaos. Rumors circulated for months that Aston Martin was behind schedule, claiming the Honda engine was overweight and Adrian Newey lacked time to influence the chassis. Everyone expected a disaster when the garage doors opened on day 4, but they saw a monster instead. The AMR26 rolled out in unpainted, raw carbon fiber, looking more like a weapon than a race car. It arrived late, missing the first 2 days entirely according to Grand Prix 24/7, which usually signals a team in crisis. Veteran journalists noticed the mood in the Aston Martin garage was smug rather than panicked. This car features aerodynamic geometries that shouldn't be possible under the strict 2026 rulebook. We are looking at a machine that seems to actively seal its floor to the track, using a suspension loophole nobody else considered. The entire pit lane stopped the moment it hit the track. The reaction from the competition matters even more than the car itself. George Russell, fresh from a strong showing in his Mercedes W17, was spotted staring at the Aston's rear end with genuine concern. This is a declaration of war on the new era, rather than just a car launch. The vehicle that rolled out of that garage displays staggering visual differences. The Mercedes W17 and Ferrari look like evolved versions of the previous generation, but the AMR26 looks like it landed from another planet. You first notice the horns on the airbox, a direct throwback to Newey's 2005 McLaren MP420, suggesting he is manipulating airflow to the rear wing to bypass new clean air mandates. The true secret lies lower down, where the side pods are aggressively undercut. This design creates a channel feeding air directly to the diffuser, far exceeding what regulations seem to allow. Photographers got a clear look at the carbon weaving because the car ran without livery paint to save weight. Newey packaged the Honda power unit so tightly that the bodywork essentially shrink wraps the engine. It is extreme, risky, and explains their lateness. Newey built a car that ignores the spirit of the rules entirely, rather than just building a 2026 Challenger. George Russell does not get rattled easily and has been confident all winter about the W17's simulator numbers. His demeanor changed instantly when asked about the Aston Martin. He avoided the usual public relations answer. Formula1.com quotes him calling the car pretty spectacular, while the race reports he admitted it was the standout design of the test. What he omitted is telling. He never mocked their noted that everybody was looking at that rear suspension. Russell admitted the car is visually on another level compared to the rest of the grid. When a rival calls your car spectacular after seeing only a few installation laps, it suggests they might be in trouble. Mercedes knows their simulator numbers might be irrelevant if Newey has struck gold with this suspension trick. The technical revelation scrambling the FIA involves the 2026 regulations. Formula One introduced active Aero, with wings that flatten out on straights to reduce drag and pop up for corners to save fuel. Sources suggest Newey found a gray area in how these wings interact with floor flexibility. The AMR26 reportedly features a radical rear suspension layout, where the upper wishbones are anchored directly to the rear wing supports. This structural integration allows the car to manipulate airflow to the diffuser to maximize downforce, mimicking a beam wing effect. This system is genius and potentially illegal? Aston Martin is generating massive downforce in corners where other cars will be sliding, rather than just reducing drag. This kind of unfair advantage wins championships before the first light goes out. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you enjoy this analysis of F1's newest controversy. We cover breaking technical stories like this every week. We move next to the engine mystery that might ruin everything. This aerodynamic masterpiece comes with a major catch: wearing a Honda badge. Aston Martin AMR26 confirmed the Japanese manufacturer returns as a full works partner, but reports from Japan are worrying. The new 2026 power units require an equal split between electric and combustion power. Rumors indicate Honda struggled with the battery deployment software, leaving them behind Ferrari and Mercedes on pure horsepower. Newey likely knew the engine would be slightly underpowered or overweight, so he had to design a car aerodynamically efficient enough to compensate. This necessity explains the extreme shrink-wrapped packaging. The car fails if the engine overheats inside that tight bodywork. They get past if the battery clips too early on the straights. The AMR26 is a glass cannon that is fast enough to destroy the field, yet fragile enough to break at any moment. Alonso drove it carefully during the shakedown, limited to 275 kilometers per hour, suggesting they fear a thermal meltdown. History shows that Adrian Newey pushes regulations until they snap. Think back to the blown diffusers or the flexible front wings. A late car reveal usually means he found something the rule makers missed. FIA technical delegates spent significant time in the Aston garage during the shakedown, measuring rear wing deflection. This scrutiny is exactly what Planet F1 notes Lawrence Stroll paid millions to secure. Newey promised to make this team a title contender when he joined. Most observers thought 2026 would be a building year, but Newey accelerated the timeline by exploiting the active Aero rules immediately. 3 other teams have reportedly already lodged informal queries with the FIA about the legality of Aston's suspension mounting points. They are asking because they want to copy it immediately, not because they think it is wrong. The Fernando Alonso factor is another critical element. The 44-year-old veteran has waited his entire career for a car like this. Trackside observers noted his cornering speed during his 61 laps was startling. Alonso carried speed through turn 3 that seemed impossible, even with the engine turned down. The car simply stuck to the track without rolling or bouncing. Alonso exited the car, removed his helmet, and smiled instead of complaining about the balance for the first time in years. He went straight into the engineering debrief with Newey. That silence speaks volumes. Alonso will extract every ounce of performance if he believes this car is a winner. The combination of Newey's engineering and Alonso's racecraft presents a nightmare scenario for Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. They know Alonso will make up the difference if the Aston Martin is even within 0.2 of their pace. Lawrence Stroll faces a different reception now. People mocked his efforts as a vanity project for years and laughed when he promised to build a world championship team. The current situation tells a different story. He built the wind tunnel, signed the Honda deal, poached the best engineers from Red Bull and Mercedes, and finally landed Newey. The AMR26 proves the value of that multi-billion-dollar investment. This car represents the moment Aston Martin stops being a midfield customer team and becomes a superpower. The entire hierarchy of Formula One changes overnight if this car is legal and fast. The Big Three becomes the Big Four, or perhaps simply the Big One. Stroll walked through the paddock with confidence, saying nothing to the press. He knows what sits in that garage, and the close attention from Mercedes confirms it is working. The FIA must now decide how to respond. The governing body dislikes when one team mocks new regulations in the very first week. A technical directive clarifying the suspension rules will likely appear before the first race in Melbourne. This happens whenever Newey finds a loophole. The problem is that banning it takes time because teams need to vote or the FIA needs to prove a safety risk. Newey designs his cars to be fast immediately and legal later. Aston Martin could secure 3 or 4 race wins before other teams figure out how to ban the system. The controversy is only starting. We are about to witness a political battle as intense as the on-track racing, with Mercedes and Ferrari lawyers likely drafting protests already. We might be seeing the Brawn GP moment of the 2020s. A regulation change in 2009 allowed a midfield team to find a loophole and dominate the sport, and Aston Martin might have done the same for 2026. This shift means the established championship order is gone. Red Bull is rebuilding while Mercedes is nervous and Ferrari remains quiet. Aston Martin has become the predator. The entire 2026 season will revolve around whether the FIA allows the AMR26 to race if it is as fast as Russell fears. We are looking at a season defined by a single design choice made by Adrian Newey in a Silverstone office, rather than by drivers. The implications for the sport are massive. Every other team will have to redesign their cars from scratch if active aero manipulation is permitted, costing millions and ruining budgets. This is a financial bomb thrown into the paddock, as well as a fast car. The 2026 season hasn't started, yet the winner might already be decided in a wind tunnel. We are in for a historic year, whether the FIA bans the car or Russell learns to beat it. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want more detailed analysis like this.